Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds so everyone can start tuning on in. And what we're going to be covering today are a series of different stocks that our group members see value in. If you guys have never tuned into one of our Sunday stock talks, this is pretty much where we just come together as a team and we break down, again, the top stocks that you all see value in. So I really hope that throughout this video you learn something new and you get one step closer to your overall goal. If you do, I really hope that you consider dropping a thumbs up. If, of course, only if we earn it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I see that a lot of you guys are already posting it in the ticker call out format, which just makes it a lot easier for me to understand that you've taken time to break down and plan out this trade. So what's going on, Braden? Is it Braden? Yeah, what's going on, Braden? What's going on, Harry? What's going on, TC? I like it. I like it. What's up? What's up? 2 Sharp 25. Is it feed due? There we go. So Camila, Jeff, Freddie, Ben, what's up? What's up? We got Jesse, Ben, is it Moises? There we go. We got Will, Franz, Your Pop, is it Andre, Paul, Contreras, what's up? What's up? Hope that you guys are all having a good and productive Sunday. So we got a couple people tuning on in. There we go. We're at Nolan. Is it Nordir? Noder. So, but yeah, no, I really do appreciate it. So we got Delta Pro Master. I really do appreciate you guys tuning on in on this Sunday. And yeah, let's go ahead. And I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. So if you have a stock that you would like me to break down, just keep posting it in the ticker call out format and I'll be sure to get to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Every stock that I break down, I'm going to have on this watch list on the left-hand side just to make it easy for you guys to follow along. So we got I Like Turtles with ticker symbol SHOP. So this is Shopify, so SHOP. Here we go. So I'm going to go on the 180-day chart. One of the things that we are experiencing as of right now, it looks like Shop on Friday had a very aggressive push. Looks like it almost pushed up 6%. And based off of the last time that it had a similar push to that, ended up getting rejected right on back to 900 flat. So that push alone is where we're getting that 6%, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there it goes. So it looks like we're already indicating signs of an uptrend. We were trading below, right? We were trading above the SMA line, and now we're trading below the SMA line. And one of the things that we've experienced, right, is that a lot of these tech companies have been selling off as the overall NASDAQ market have been selling off. So, of course, direction is super important as right now. A lot of people are waiting for very big companies like Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, as they've been selling off to slowly recover. So it doesn't mean that it has to do it now, but if we do begin to get a proper indication of an uptrend, then again, that's where I would follow up with and begin to add a little bit more to my position. But until then, because we were trading above the SMA line, now we're trading below it. What used to act as a support level can now act as a resistance level. So just be aware that when things become a little bit more on the overbought side and we approach this SMA line, this can begin to indicate signs of, again, this being a little bit more on the overbought side and it'd be due a little bit for a pullback. So I'm excited to follow up with it, but I still think that, especially in the tech market, there's going to be a lot that it's going to need to do. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Joel with IMMU. So IMMU. Here we go. So a huge gap up. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different as it had a huge gap up, I'm guessing due to some form of news. And I mean, this is a little bit different, of course, as it's not just a normal, push up or a normal pullback. There's obviously a huge gap, began to trade around 87, and it's almost been consolidating around this general area. So we're not really making higher highs anymore, which does run the risk of, if we do break below the EMA line, where there tends to be a lot of selling pressure, we can easily begin to gap down. So again, it's great that it has pushed up a lot, since not since, that wasn't even last week. When was this? So this was on around the 7th of September. We experienced that huge push up and it's been consolidating up here. And ever since then, it hasn't really progressively been making higher highs or lower lows. So although it did gap up now we run the risk of it being able to gap down. So just please be aware that even on with Friday's performance, it moved less than 0.1%. So just because something has performed well in the past before doesn't mean that it has to follow, especially when it gaps up so quickly. It is a very common pattern where it begins to sell off and maybe give back some of that margin from when it originally gapped up. But I would like to learn a little bit more on what caused it, if it was either a stock split or what caused it to push up so much, if it's any form of news for IMMU. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Sono. Here we go. We got Sono. We were showing signs of an uptrend, and again, as the overall market began to sell off, we could see that Sono also did have was negatively influenced. And although it has been trying to make a recovery, again, the same thing where the SMA line used to act as a support level, and now it's acting as a form of a resistance level. So it has a lot to prove in the idea that it might begin to sell off a little bit. I'll wait and set my alerts for the break above the EMA line. So if we get proper indication of a potential reversal, then we can follow up with it. But until then, as of right now, we're trading below the EMA line, we're trading below the SMA line, and because of that, we can easily see this thing based off of previous patterns to begin to gap down, make lower lows and lower highs. So it's not that it's going to go all the way back down here, but it's that as of right now, based off of its previous peak and performance, it looks like it's pulling back just a little bit. So I'm going to set alert on both sides, as again, there's two sides to every opportunity. So let's go ahead and move on to this one. So we got flip with SQ. So we got Square, which is again a big focus on tech, and this one's actually not doing too bad. So hit 180-day highs at 171. It pulled back as the overall market sold off, and it's been making a pretty decent recovery since then. Yeah, if anything, I mean, we're approaching again the very same resistance level that it has had before. As you guys can see, it would sell off, hit lows of around the 130s, and as it would pick up, it would almost experience a resistance right around 160, right? It would push up, almost break above 160, sell right back off, almost break above 160, sell back off, almost break above 160, and again, we run the risk of potentially selling back off. So as of right now, it looks like we're showing signs of an ascending support with the same kind of like horizontal resistance. So we can easily see a breakout, and if you think that the margin from the 158 to 178 is worth it based off of previous performance, SQs is just, it's been doing so well that I can see why you would want to partake in this, but as of right now, I just wouldn't view it as the best. I would rather wait for this thing to sell off a little bit and be able to buy it for maybe a little bit of a better deal. But again, it is so bullish that I can see why anyone would want to put their money, not just as a trade, but also as an investment, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Justin De Silva with BA. So we got Boeing in the house. Here we go. So we got ticker symbol BA with an amazing performance on Friday. You guys can see that it was selling off, and on Friday itself, after it gapped down on Thursday, it began to recover quite aggressively. You guys can see that it has had a very similar pattern to this, where it sells off, it tries to recover, and then sells right back off. It tries to recover, sells right back off. It tries to recover, sells right back off. So as of right now, BA, I'm not saying big picture, but as of right now, as a trade, you need to understand that it looks like almost a descending pattern. So you need to understand the low points and the high points. And when things become a little bit more on the overbought side, because it's a descending pattern, you either really want to watch your position size or just do your part and lock in profits until the opportunity begins to become a little bit more clear. So I wouldn't mind, again, if this is a long-term play, if this was an investment, I would still do it's all about trying to get it for a good deal, right? But I would still do my part in trying to at least have the direction be in my favor. And as of right now, just based off previous performance, it's been making those lower lows and lower highs, which kind of just again, direction is not in our favor as of right now for when it comes down to long-term play. If you're buying now to set yourself up for 3-5 years from now, then great. But as of right now, for a trade, we just need to make sure that we do our part in locking in profits as they become a little bit more on the overbought side. Alrighty. Here we go. So we got DFEN. So All right, so this one doesn't look like it's going anywhere. I can just look at this on the 180-day chart. So it looks like it had a 6% performance on Friday. And again, it's not that I wouldn't recommend these, right? I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion and to put your money where you think you can make money, right? When it comes down to an ETF, as someone that trades a lot of ETFs, they decay over time. And this is something that you have to understand, that one of the reasons you don't want to hold them overnight. On top of that, some ETFs perform exceptionally well, right? Especially when the market's thriving, TQs and SPY that follow specific indexes do exceptionally well because the market is so consistent. Then there's stocks like this, right, that have been consistently selling off. And although they might have, these like 6% days, they also, again, follow with just as big of, if not bigger, red days, especially if they're selling off over time. So please just make sure that you do your part of not just always thinking about, well, what if it gaps up to this, right? But also take into consideration the risk that you run by holding something that might not play out according to plan, that again is descending over time. If it was an actual stock or an actual just company that you wanted to invest in long term, that would be a different story. But you need to make sure that, especially with ETFs that decay over time, that you are doing your part in managing your risk, especially when they're selling off over time. So just food for thought, right? So alrighty, here we go. So ELY, what's going on, Colin? Alrighty, so Callaway Golf Company, nice. Hit overall highs at $22. It's been selling off. So actually, out of all the stocks that we've broken down so far, I like this one, not because I think it's a better stock or anything like that. I like it because it's not a stock that we talk about very often. So maybe it's a company that you see value in, and or because it also presents a pretty clear opportunity, right? It's been trying to make higher highs and higher lows. It's at or below as of right now, so that's kind of the only iffy thing about it. It's now trading below the SMA line, so just a heads up on that. But it's oversold enough that this is when I would begin to pay attention to it to be able to buy now, which then I could potentially sell later. And again, based off previous highs, it offers about a 15% margin. So again, I don't know much about this specific type of golf company, but when it comes down to the technicals and when it comes down to what is currently being presented, although it is selling off, I mean, confirmation is still key. We still need to make sure that we wait for that, as this thing can continue to sell off. But as long as we do our part in getting in when the direction is in our favor, and that margin, just like we already calculated, is still there, right, above 10%, then we can do our part in watching our position size averaging up as it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, and then locking in profits as we begin to become and approach previous highs and become a little bit more on the overbought side. So I like it. I'm going to set my alerts on both sides. And again, I just like the pattern and I like the idea behind this stock, as I feel like it wasn't a stock that you might have seen in a group chat or something like that. It's probably a stock that you looking into, a company that you potentially might see value in long term, and one that you decided to want to learn more about, which I respect. So it's not always about trying to trade what everyone else is trading. It's sometimes really cool to see kind of like a fresh of breath there, right? You finding your own stock that still meets your criteria, but also makes sense to you. So here we go. So we got ticker symbol HZNP. HZNP. So, alrighty. So Therapeutics. So I'm not the biggest fan of Therapeutics. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you've been watching my YouTube channel, I just have not had the best experience trading them, which shouldn't mean anything crazy too, but normally what I tend to experience is a lot of them wait for FDA approval, and there's a lot of hype built up to that point, and most often they don't pass, more often than not, for the general idea of therapeutics company. Don't end up passing, and because of that, then we end up experiencing a significant drop, right? As of right now, it looks like it's doing exceptionally well. It's making higher highs, higher lows. I like it. Overall direction's in your favor. I don't view this to be a crazy good deal. I see this to be something that is consistent and something that is holding up pretty well. So I can see why you're paying attention to it. I just don't view this as, especially at the price point that we're at right now, based off of previous highs. I just don't see the margins to be, again, nothing against you, just I don't see the margins to be completely worth it. If it were to sell off and maybe a better just margin were to be presented, then yeah, maybe I can approach it in that aspect. But as of right now, it's more on the overbought side, and I do like the consistency aspect. I do like the overall pattern. I just need it to still be a good deal. I hope that makes sense to you, right? Let's go ahead and let's do about two more, and then we'll call it a Sunday stock talk, and I'll let you get back to whatever fun stuff you might have been up to before we went live here. But I really hope that, again, you're learning something new. You're able to cherry pick some of these stocks and the ways that I break it down. And I hope that we, again, earn your thumbs up. So let's go ahead, and we got Nikki with GE. So we got GE, here we go. So we got General Electric, been selling off. Lower lows, lower highs. Again, if your intention was to invest in long term, I could see why. By trying to buy it for a good deal, to hold and invest if that's the approach that you wanted. As of right now, this thing's making lower lows and lower highs. The overall direction is not in your favor. It's not going to be impossible to make money, as it's very oversold. It's, I see why you're paying attention to it, with the idea that when it breaks above the EMA line, you can then begin to, buy more and then sell it for a profit as it becomes on the overbought side. The risk that you run with this is it's a descending pattern right now. It's making lower lows and lower highs, so you run the risk of it not actually forming a reversal where you end up having a potentially bag hold. So just make sure that you watch your position size. Confirmation is key, and that you take into consideration that descending pattern, especially if your intention is to day trade it and not invest in it, that it doesn't always have to go according to plan, so your risk management has to be A1. But I like it, and I'm going to set my alert so I can follow up with it once it begins to make higher highs and break above the EMA line, and maybe direction become a little bit more clear, right? Because we can all agree that it's a little bit easier to be able to make money in the market. It's not easy, but it's a lot easier when the overall direction is in your favor. So let's go ahead and break some down. So we got Jared with EQX. EQX, here it goes. Alrighty, so a little bit more on the oversold side. A lot of consolidation based off previous highs. We were experiencing that right around $13.80 to $14. We can just see that we haven't been making higher highs. If anything, we've almost been making lower lows and almost lower highs. So just because it was uptrending before doesn't mean that it has to continue to do that. I do see why you're paying attention to it, as it's a little bit more on the oversold side. You're waiting for that potential reversal. We can set those alerts, and if we get proper indication, then you can begin to average up. But based off of just previous performance, it looks like it's struggling now to make higher highs, just for whatever the case might be. So just make sure that you don't become too greedy when it comes down to it. If it actually does end up indicating signs of an uptrend, that you do your part in locking in profits when it makes sense. But I like it. We've followed up with that one before. So, all right. Let's see. I was going to just do those two, but I think I should do one more. Let's see. Which one are we doing? Alright, let's see. So we got ticker symbol B, some Boyle. I'm gonna do another one other than just these, because Boyle is a ETF that we have talked about before already. So this is a natural gas, right? Yeah, natural gas ETF. It looks a little bit more on the overbought side. It's above the EMA line. It's been uptrending. I like that you're paying attention to that, but we're approaching overbought territory, and it looks like it's about to formulate this potential reversal. And if I'm not mistaken, the inverse of this is cold, something like that. And this is a little bit more on the oversold side, but of course more of a descending pattern right now. And this looks like it's pending a reversal right now. So just make sure you take that into consideration. Let's go ahead and do one more, and then go from there. So fire alarm needs what's going on, Lucas? Yeah, it does. I need to buy a battery for one of our fire alarms here. So all right, INTU. So let's see if we can end it with this, if this is a good one. INTU, not bad. Okay, So overall, it was a very consistent uptrend pattern, hit highs of 360, it pulled back, it's consolidating. So we've talked about the 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, consolidation, and then when we actually start making higher highs, right? The same thing that we experienced here, then confirmation. So as of right now, it looks like we're in the very early stages of potentially going into confirmation, but as of right now, it can get rejected, just like we saw, just a couple days ago, where it pushed up above the EMA line, above the SMA line, and then it pulled right on back. So just make sure that you're aware of these potential just bull traps, right? Where it looks like it's about to formulate a reversal to continue this overall uptrend, but then it ends up just peaking again much lower than it was before, and then it continues to sell off. So just something to take into consideration, but I like it. So I'm going to set my alert down here as well, and then we'll leave it at that. And then I'm going to do a quick little just overall analysis on the overall market right now. If you guys are paying attention, the overall market is green so far. So this is /NQ, which of course is the NASDAQ future, which the NASDAQ market, the futures market is already open even on a Sunday. And this is one of the reasons that I really like, and I think that regardless if you trade ETFs or not, if you trade specific stocks like tech stocks that are influenced by the overall NASDAQ market, staying up to date with the overall direction is super important, especially as we go into the pre-market trading session. So as of right now, you can see that it's up about 0.5%, meaning that a majority of tech stocks should be, if the prices hold for /NQ here by the time the market opens, then a majority of tech stocks should be open up in the green as well. So something to look forward to on the 180-day chart. We still have a lot to prove. If you guys look a little bit down here, again, a very similar pattern where we were about to make overall highs and then we got rejected, and we're right around that same general resistance area where we hope to begin to pick back up, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise if we peak out and then begin to drop right back down. So just be aware of the overall direction on which side the market ends up going up. And of course, what I like to pay attention to is if NASDAQ begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, I'll focus on TQs. If market begins to sell off, then I'll focus on SQQQ. So again, you guys know, if you've watched my videos, you know what it is that I do, and we can go from there. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I don't want to take much more of it. If you guys want to join me for the live trading session tomorrow, be sure to click the second link down below, and you guys can learn a little bit more about the Learn Plan Profit Group, what it includes, and how we can work with you on a closer basis. If you guys aren't ready for that but would like to still stay connected, you guys can refresh your screen and click the first link down below. We have a little bit over 291,000 members, and it's absolutely for free. It's a free Facebook group, and it's just a good way to get plugged in with a lot of other like-minded individuals. So make sure you guys stay subscribed to the YouTube channel. I hope that we earned a thumbs up, and we will see you tomorrow at Market Open if you're part of our LPP group. Until then, guys, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.